Let's dive into one of the most daring and dangerous adventures in human history. We're going to break down the story of the first ever voyage to circle the entire globe.
So, picture this. The year is 1519. 270 men, sailors, soldiers, and adventurers are setting sail from Spain. They're heading out on this audacious quest, sailing into the complete unknown.
Now fast forward 3 long, brutal years. Out of those 270 men, this is how many made it back. Just 18 survivors, limping home on a single battered ship.
So, what happened out there? What kind of challenges did they face? And more importantly, what did they find that would forever change how we see our world? Let's get into it. Every epic journey starts with a single idea. And this one, it started with a Portuguese navigator named Ferdinand Magellan, who had a plan that was, well, equal parts brilliant and incredibly risky.
See, at the time, there was a global spice race. Spices like cloves were as valuable as gold. Seriously, Portugal controlled the only known route to the Spice Islands by sailing east. So Magellan goes to the King of Spain with a radical new idea. Hey, what if the world is round? We could just sail west and get there first. It was a huge gamble.
He laid out this pretty clear 4-step plan for Spain's King Charles I. First, get the money. Second, find a secret passage through the Americas that nobody was sure even existed. Third, load up on those precious spices. And fourth, come home a rich hero. The king was sold. He funded the whole thing.
And so, on September 20th, 1519, Magellan's fleet of 5 ships set sail. They were literally sailing off the edge of the known map, with no real idea what was waiting for them.
Almost immediately, the search for this secret passage turned into a total nightmare. For months, they searched the coast of South America, the weather got brutally cold, and food started running out. The crew was so desperate they actually tried to mutiny, to rebel against Magellan. He had to use an iron fist to keep control. In all the chaos, one of the ships just gave up and sailed back to Spain.
But just when it seemed like all hope was lost, they found it. A narrow, twisting, treacherous channel cutting through the southern tip of the continent. Today, of course, we know it as the Strait of Magellan.
After 38 grueling days navigating that dangerous strait, they emerged into a new body of water. And compared to the stormy Atlantic, it was so calm, so peaceful, that Magellan named it the Mar Pacifico, the Pacific Ocean. You can just imagine the relief they must have felt.
But that relief, it was a cruel illusion. Because the Pacific Ocean wasn't some small sea. It was a vast, empty wilderness of water, way bigger than anyone in Europe could have possibly imagined. This was about to become the deadliest part of their entire journey.
They sailed for 99 days, almost 4 months without seeing a single piece of land where they could stop for food or water. They were completely unprepared for this.
Things got grim. The crew was literally starving. Their main food, ship's biscuits, had turned into a foul powder filled with worms. Their drinking water was yellow and thick. They resorted to eating sawdust and even chewing on the leather hides wrapped around the ship's masts.
And without any fresh food, a horrible disease started to sweep through the ships: scurvy. Basically, scurvy is what happens when your body has 0 vitamin C. It's awful. Your gums rot, your teeth fall out, you become incredibly weak. 19 sailors died just from this one disease during that Pacific crossing.
After finally making it to the Philippines, the crew was saved from starvation. But this is where their leader, Ferdinand Magellan, made a decision that would ultimately cost him his life.
Instead of just focusing on the mission, Magellan got involved in a local war between 2 tribal chiefs. He way underestimated his opponent's strength. And when he led the attack himself on the island of Mactan, the water was too shallow for his ships to get close enough to provide backup with their cannons.
On that beach, Magellan and his men were completely overwhelmed, and the great navigator, the man who had dreamed up this entire impossible voyage, was killed in the fighting. He was thousands of miles from home and never got to complete his own journey. So now what? Their leader is gone, the expedition is in tatters. The few men who were left had to somehow pull themselves together and figure out how to finish what they started. They actually had so few men at this point, they had to abandon another ship. A new captain, Juan Sebastian Elcano, took command of the last seaworthy vessel, the Victoria. They finally made it to the Spice Islands, loaded up on cloves, and began the impossible race home.
The trip back was another agonizing ordeal. They were dodging enemy Portuguese ships the whole way, all while battling starvation and disease yet again. But
Against all the odds, Elcano guided that leaking, battered ship all the way back to Europe. The final toll of this journey is just staggering. 5 ships set out on this grand adventure. Only one completed the trip. Of the 270 men who sailed from Spain, just 18 lived to tell the tale. The cost was truly immense.
But despite those horrific losses, the impact of this one voyage was revolutionary. This was the first physical proof that the Earth is a sphere. It showed us the true, massive scale of the Pacific Ocean and proved that all the world's oceans are connected. They even accidentally discovered the need for an international dateline, because after sailing west around the entire world, their ship's calendar was a full day behind everyone in Europe.
So the journey of Magellan and Elcano is way more than just a history lesson. It's this incredible story about human curiosity, about unbelievable endurance, and about that unshakable desire we have to push past the horizon and explore the unknown no matter what it costs.